And good afternoon. Welcome to the Loop with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590. Thank you for making us part of your day. I've been given about an hour of an individual's time who probably doesn't have an hour out of the day to not be doing something for the city of Dexter. That's Dave Wyman, the city administrator. Dave, may I call you Dave?
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the booth.
Thank you for having me.
Dave, tell me a little bit, and the listeners a little bit about Dave Wyman. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I actually graduated high school from Richland, which is a little bit east of here. My high school sweetheart and I went up to Columbia and graduated. She's a teacher, so she got her degree in education. I went the civil engineering route, so I got my degree in engineering. And I spent 25 years with the highway department. So I did a variety of things for them. I was a highway designer for about 10 years. And then as we did a big project north of Poplar Bluff, I moved over into our construction division, and I oversaw a few projects there on Route 67 north of Poplar Bluff. I was in charge of doing a lot of bridge building in southeast Missouri. I think I got to sign off on about 87 new bridges, which was a lot. And then I became an area engineer. Well, an area engineer, their main focus is working with cities and counties and trying to make problems go away. And so I really began to have an appreciation for local government and how that works and how you can do things the right way and get a lot done. Then I actually finished my career as a project manager at the highway department, and I found out that the city administrator in Dexter was leaving. He was moving to Cape Girardeau, and so I applied for this job, and thankfully I was chosen. And so I've been happy with my move. It's been a great job.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Dave Wyman. And Dave, on behalf of the citizens of Dexter and all the area, they could not have made a better choice. I'm saying that in all sincerity. When we were preparing to talk about this, you were gracious enough to give us some time, and you said, "Hey, Darren, are there some things that you want to talk about?" And I said, "I'll leave it totally up to you, Dave. Whatever you want to do. I just want to kind of chat with you." And I should have known that the thorough, well-prepared Dave Wyman would have a list of amazing topics to talk about. And that's why Dexter is lucky to have you, because this is a very task-oriented profession, the city administrator job, is it not?
It is. There's a lot of things that we cover, a lot of things that come up, and that's part of the reason why I like it. No day is like the previous day. You try to get things done and make your community as good as you can, make it as welcoming as you can, and kind of going back to the motto of the Boy Scouts, you always leave things better than what it was when you got there. So.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Loop with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Dave Wyman, the city administrator. And Dave, I've had the opportunity to speak with some other individuals on the show. David Blaylock, the city manager, the airport manager for Malden, Alicia Trammell, the chamber director, and they've all say it's a pleasure working with Dave. He's always done a good job, and he knows what's going on. What's some of the things that's been going on in your world here in the last month or so?
Well, of course, the Stoddard County Fair is always a big event for Dexter and for Stoddard County as a whole. We had really great weather. We had good attendance. We can say that we think that was a successful week. So that was great. And we've always got things that are ongoing in the city as far as projects that we're working on. We've been pretty successful with that. And we've always got stuff that we're looking towards. So, I made a kind of a list of things that I wanted to make sure that we announced. One of the things is coming up in the month of October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. St. Francis is having several events that they're going to sponsor for that. And October the 1st is when they're going to get started with that. And hopefully that kind of raises awareness and makes people again, that's something that affects a lot of women in our area, and we just want to make sure that everybody's working towards a cure. There's a kind of going back to my roots in heavy industry. There's an event that the Association of General Contractors sponsors. It's going to be over at the Black River Coliseum this year. It's going to be on October the 7th, and they call it the Build My Future event. And what they do is they work with a lot of heavy contractors, and they try to host a lot of high school kids. And that's for a couple of different reasons. One, they want to try to encourage kids to come and be workers in the heavy construction industry. And they also want to kind of encourage some of those kids to work towards the STEM or the engineering side of things. So it's a really great opportunity for, kids in high school to go and be a part of that event.
And we're getting around Welcome to the Loop with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Dave Wyman. And that brings up an excellent point, Dave, and I think you'll agree with this. I hope you do anyway, and if you don't, you can disagree. When we were in college, in high school, everyone was instructed you have to go get a 4-year degree and become a doctor, lawyer, engineer, something of that nature. But as you will well know, as a engineer, if we don't have those individuals who can drive a backhoe, run a bulldozer, do an excavator, we can build the greatest architectural plans we want, but we can never get those to fruition. Correct?
Absolutely. It helps everyone. So used to when I was with the highway department, we always tried on our maintenance side of the house. We were like, who are the farm kids that we could hire? Because they're going to be the ones that have gone out, they've driven tractors, they've driven trucks, they know how to operate equipment. It's hard to find farm kids anymore. I mean, that's just kind of the nature of that industry. There's not as many kids that are working on farms during the summer. So now you've got to kind of broaden your outlook and see, how can we get kids interested in this early on? And you're exactly right. You're going to have those folks that know how to operate equipment, that know how to get things repaired, that know how to get things built. And that's how the world spins.
Absolutely, and we're welcome to the booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Dave Wyman, the city administrator for the city of Dexter. And Dave, and I cut you off, and we're talking about some more events. We've talked about the Fall Fest, October 11th from 9 a.m. till 3 p.m. that's going to take place downtown here in Dexter. I don't think people realize the importance of making sure that the downtown area is a viable option for people. Because if your downtown's not up and running, then nothing's running, correct?
Yeah, we are blessed here in Dexter to still have kind of a core of shops in our downtown. Aaron Brown has the gallery, and there's a couple of the Bunny Patch is a dress shop, and we've got Dexter Pizza Company. There's some core businesses in our downtown, and we're so proud of that. But what Fall Fest does is it allows a lot of those smaller vendors to come in, take advantage of our downtown, and it has continually grown year after year after year, and it's really a big event. And so we try to encourage and spread the word. Come out, see what there is to purchase and what they can offer you. It's a really a good event.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Dave Wyman, the city administrator for Dexter. And I'm looking through the kind of list of events, and something that kind of caught my eye was this e-waste day at the Boot Hill Regional Planning Commission on October 15th. Kind of what is that, Dave?
So the Boot Hill Regional Planning Commission is it services all 6 counties in the Boot Hill. So they offer a lot of programs. We work with them a lot at the city because they are the ones that administer a lot of the grant programs that are available. But they also have other programs that they kind of manage out of that office, and one of them is the solid waste program, and that covers all 6 counties in the Boot Hill. And so one of the things that they try to sponsor is this e-waste day, which what it is for electronics. So old TVs, old computers, they tell me anything that's got an electrical cord, you can bring over there and they will dispose of it for you free of charge. And so that's a pretty handy thing if you're like me and your garage becomes more of a haven for junk than what it should be. It's really a good way to kind of dispose of a few of those things and get them out of your way.
And I hate to admit this to you, Dave, because you're going to laugh at me, but I've always been trying to figure out what I was going to do with my Commodore 64, things of that nature, because I feel bad about just throwing it in a trash can. So that's how I can dispose of that stuff correctly.
That's a perfect way to get rid of. If you got some of those old console TVs or any of that stuff that just kind of hangs around, this is a good opportunity, and you can get rid of it free of charge. And they sponsor that, and they would love to have more activity with it. So,
and I had the privilege of interviewing Jim Griebing, who's the director of the Boot Hill Regional Planning Commission. And one thing a lot of people don't know, the Boot Hill Regional Planning Commission is actually right here in Dexter at the Armory, correct?
It's the old Armory. It's the place in Dexter. If there's a tornado coming through town, you go to that building because it is built very, very, it's old school. There's a lot of concrete in that building, but it's right there by the railroad tracks. And like you said, that's the headquarters of the Boot Hill Regional Planning Commission. And good folks, and they help us out a tremendous amount.
And take all of your electronic waste to the Boot Hill Regional Planning Commission on October 15th. Again, we're on Welcome to Do with Aaron Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Dave Wyman, the City Administrator for the City of Dexter. And Dave, you're getting to my favorite time of year on this next thing we're going to talk about, Halloween, because I don't know if you've... Despite my super athletic build, I like a lot of candy, Dave.
Well, this is an event for you, no doubt. So on Halloween night, October 31st, and it's at our East Park, which is over by the Aquatic Center, the Circle there in East Park. That's going to be the location for the trunk or treat, or the Halloween happening is what they call it. And it'll start at 5 and go until the candy runs out. So try to get there early if you can. And that's really going to be a big event this year, because in previous years the school has hosted a similar event, and you kind of have a little bit of competition. But I think the school is not going to host theirs this year. I don't really know the reason. I know they've got a lot of construction going on out there. So this is really the place in Dexter to really fill up your Halloween basket. So.
And in the event, Dave, and I know you can direct me if you don't have this information now, if I wanted to put a trunk in that, how would I go about letting someone know?
So just contact our park office. Mandy at the park office, she's trying to kind of help coordinate everything, and she'll kind of assign you the location that you'll be at. Of course, they love to have folks that want to dress up, for Halloween. That's always a big deal. And a little bit of competition. I know last year there was a lot of zombies. Some people really, really do a good job with that makeup for Halloween, so it's always a fun time.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Aaron Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Dave Wyman, City Administrator for the City of Dexter, about some of the great events coming up in October and November. And we're getting into November, and I've had the opportunity to go to this place numerous times, and I'm embarrassed to say that I didn't know about it sooner. That's the Stars and Stripes Museum located in Bloomfield. There's an event coming up that we really need people to listen to and talk about. Is that correct, Dave?
Yes, it's the Stars and Stripes is a tremendous museum. It's a tremendous point of interest that we have here in Stoddard County. Laura Doomey and her board do a great job with it. They've got some really neat I want to say artifacts. I guess I'll say just exhibits that really highlight military history all throughout, America's history. But, the Stars and Stripes, which is the military newspaper, their first editions were printed in Bloomfield, which is, we need to honor that history. the thing about the Stars and Stripes is that it's really run through donations, and they need some financial assistance in order to keep that in good shape and keep it going and keep it worth visiting. Well, one of their big fundraisers for the year is the Spirit of Democracy Banquet. They are going to host that at the Osage Center in Cape Girardeau on November the 1st. Starts at 5 o'clock, and they need to sell some tickets. They need your attendance, and they really need some financial contributions as well.
Absolutely. And again, we're going to welcome the booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590. Talking to Dave Wyman, the city administrator for the city of Dexter. And Dave, and the Stars and Stripes is absolutely unbelievable. If you just want to donate to the Stars and Stripes, it's worth every penny. And if you have not been, you have got to go to see the amazing. When I first went, I was flabbergasted for work. It's an absolutely incredible museum that you have to see. And then as we're working down November 1st, my next favorite thing, and we're going to talk about this, looks like we're going to have a tree lighting here in Dexter.
Yep, over by our Welcome Center or the Railroad Depot, which is there by the railroad tracks. We have an evergreen tree there that we decorate every year. We turn the lights on November the 9th. Lauren Hill does a good job of kind of representing the city of Dexter in our tourism efforts, and she is in charge of that Welcome Center and the depot. She decorates the place up nice. The folks here, the Downtown Merchants Association, they furnish the lights and everything, and it's really a good way to kind of signal the kickoff to the holiday season. And it's really, again, it's surprising how the attendance to that has really ballooned, and it's become a big deal. People are ready for the holidays.
And I think it also is a symbol to remind folks, hey, come shop local. And keep your sales dollars here in the area, because every sale dollar that you bring back here is going to be only increase the great things that are going on in Dexter and Stoddard County, correct?
Absolutely. Those folks that run those businesses are the ones that have their names on the back of the Little League jerseys. They're the ones that make sure that, the school has the quality materials that they use. Those local merchants are truly the backbone of our community.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Dave Wyman, the city administrator of the city of Dexter, about the numerous events going on in Dexter and the Stoddard County area. Now, Dave, the next one, Moonlight Madness, that one sounds a little bit, I don't know exact. And November 14th, I don't know if I can stay up till 9 o'clock, but for this event I might. Alicia Trammell was telling me about it, and she said you were really going to sell this to me, Dave.
Well, here's the deal. So what happens in mid-November in the state of Missouri?
Deer season.
Exactly right. And I always say this, if you ever doubt the ingenuity of the American male, look at the highway on the opening season of deer season, because you'll see some of the most innovative campers headed west that you can ever imagine. There's some stuff that gets a little sketchy, but the guys head to the deer woods in the middle of November. So this event kind of started as, hey, what can we do? Because there's some very powerful shopping potential that's just sitting at home while their better halves are over in the deer woods. And so it, again, has continually grown and has gotten to be a bigger and bigger event. And it's not just exclusive to the housewives whose husbands are in the deer woods. We'll take anybody, but that's really kind of how it started, and it's been a tremendous event for us.
And if you have any questions about it whatsoever, you can call the chamber. Correct?
Yes.
And Alicia and her staff will fill you in 100%. And after she gets done talking to you, trust me, you'll be there. And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590. Dave Wyman, City Administrator for City of Dexter, gracious enough to give us some of his time today about what's going on in the City of Dexter and Stoddard County. And as we're moving down the list, looks like it's Veterans Day, November 11th. What do we have going on for Veterans Day, Dave?
So one of the things that I didn't really write down on my list, and I don't know the details quite yet, but I will say that, the backbone to any community is the school district. Big school supporter. I think Superintendent James and Assistant Superintendent Miller, they do an excellent job here in Dexter. And so the school has really become, the Veterans Day celebration ceremony at the school is really an awesome event. And so I would say on Veterans Day, that's the first thing that you probably need to go to, because it, again, it's an awesome event, and you get to honor those veterans, and they do a great job with it. When you leave the school and you're looking like, hey, what do we need to do next? Go down to our Welcome Center, our Railroad Depot. They have partnered with the Stars and Stripes Museum. They've got some new veterans exhibits that are from a local veteran, some of his uniforms, some of his things that he's picked up in his tours. They're all going to be on display down there during that Veterans Day opening, and then long term they will be relocated and permanently displayed at the Stars and Stripes. But we're excited about that. Lauren has been working to get all those things kind of ready to be displayed and staged, and that's a good way to, again, our veterans in Dexter, we think the world of them. They're great. We wouldn't be where we are if they hadn't done what they had done. So
absolutely. And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Dave Wyman, City Administrator for the City of Dexter. And Dave, you hit on something, and I think we need to talk a little bit about it. That's the school district here in Dexter. As you know, as city administrator, the strength of any town is their school district. And I think Dexter is very lucky in having an outstanding public school system being led by some outstanding administrators. I know that you work with them daily and kind of talk about what's going on, correct?
Yeah, they are right now going through a huge construction phase. They passed some bonds, and I know there was a little bit of some drama, I guess, involved. There were 3 school districts. I think Bloomfield and Bell City and Dexter all passed bond issues, and to their credit, Dexter hopped on the construction, I think, the very next day after the election. So they got started quick, but they're basically upgrading all of the entryways in each and every school building to make them more secure. They've added a new soccer field for the new soccer program that they've got out there. They're making some changes and upgrades, and they're going to start playing their girls' softball games over on Grant Street at those 2 little fields there across from the library. They really, you hit it exactly right. The school district is the backbone of the community, and we support them 1,000% any which way we can.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590 with Dave Wyman, City Administrator. And just real quickly, a lot of people say, well, it's very inconvenience for me with the construction and things of this nature. But again, in the long run, the benefits to the community and the school far outweighs a little bit of inconvenience. Just be patient with the school district and let them get all these things going, correct?
School districts and school buildings, they're a lot like hospitals. Every hospital I've ever gone to is always under construction. And there's a lot of moving parts to a school district. You've always got to make repairs on the roofs. You've always got to make these security upgrades, and it's really for the kids. That's really the focus. And we want to make sure that they have a quality educational experience, that they can come and they can feel safe and they can learn. And that just helps the city of Dexter in the long run all the way.
Absolutely. We got a couple of events coming up in December we need to talk about. The first one's lighted up Christmas displays by local businesses. Tell me a little bit about that, Dave.
So again, down at our East Park, we have some electrical, some power, kind of like at a campground almost. So we've kind of lined that whole drive where you can have power available. And so we kind of did that for our farmers market, so that those vendors would have the ability to plug in, have a fan, whatever. But then we got to thinking, well, what else could we do? And those drive-through Christmas displays, I love them. I think they're great. And what we have been trying to do is get local businesses. They can come in, sponsor this display, put up their Christmas lights, advertise, and what we've actually been doing is putting down car counters to see how many vehicles actually go through there, and that gives the businesses kind of an idea of, well, what's the advertising return that I'm getting for this effort that I'm putting up. So not only is it a community event, I mean, we think it's good. I like driving through them. But it's a tremendous way for those local businesses to get their name out there, advertise, and let people know what they have to offer.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Dave Wyman, City Administrator. And Dave, it's very interesting that you talk about number-driven things of that nature, and making sure your downtown is very prosperous. Because KDX, we're in this new studio,
Yep.
and we're very excited that you've come in and you agreed to do the show. Because I don't know if you remember back when we were on 114 out there. We want to know that. Let everybody know that we want to be part of the city, and we want to be part of Dexter and the downtown area. And I think it's also it's a very stroke of genius for you to say, hey, we're going to put down these car counters, so that way people will say, well, how am I going to know what my bang for my buck is in regard to the advertising? I think that's a genius move.
Yeah, I mean, it's, business is competitive and every dollar's important, and we know that sometimes those advertising dollars, they're hard to come by because, there's always other things that you can spend on, but this is a good way. Like I said, not only does it build up your community, but I think there's some tremendous advertising potential there as well. And we want to be open with all of our businesses and say, hey, look, this is how many vehicles come around here and see this.
And in the event that we wanted to join this process or this program, how do we go about doing that, Dave?
So Mandy down at our park office, if you get a hold of her, she will set up a kind of an area for you to be staged at, and we'd love to have you.
Now, obviously, it's going to be a situation in which we want you to come in, do a good job, put your business out there, and really get some good publicity for the city and your business, correct?
Oh, yeah, and it's really, I always get a kick out of it. Chris Willis RV, they always bring one of their little RVs out there, and it's always opened up, and they're having a little bonfire and roasted marshmallows. And one of my favorite ones was a couple of years ago, the Stoddard County Ambulance District had a little ambulance, and they had a skeleton that was, driving the ambulance. And I was like, well, that's a little creepy, but, I always remembered going by it. And, the churches do a great job. It's kind of a competition, but it's a really good way to advertise, and it's a really neat way to have, drive through and see the Christmas lights.
Absolutely. And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Dave Wyman, City Administrator for Dexter. Does an outstanding job. We've been going through some of the events that's coming up in October, November, December, and we're kind of winding down with one that, again, I think you're going to have to explain a little bit more on this one. A cocoa crawl?
So this is one of the brainchilds of Alicia Trammell.
You gotta love her brain. She's always coming up with something.
She's always going, and there's no off button. And she was like, "Well, what's another thing that we can do to kind of get people in the holiday season? And I can tell you that." I'm not the greatest gift giver for my wife.
Dave.
I think I'm too much of an engineer or something. So this is a great deal for me. Like when I go into the gallery down here, and Aaron, I will confess, I just go to Aaron and I'm like, what do I need to get her this year? And she's like, well, what did you get her last year? I don't know. she takes care of me. And the Cocoa Crawl idea is you purchase a coffee cup from the chamber, and they change each and every year. You buy that coffee cup, and you go to all these businesses that are participating, and they all have these little hot cocoa stations as you go in. So you take your coffee cup and you just go in there, and I just go and make myself a fancy cup of hot chocolate, and then Aaron will go pick out whatever gift I need to get, and then I buy it. And then I go out to the corner cottage, and I try their cocoa, and then see if it's a little bit better, and then I'll go to Jackson Florist and I'll try their cocoa and see if that's any better. Jackson Florist last year, I will say, they were the winners in they got the gold star.
Dave is throwing down the gauntlet to everyone else that Jackson Florist had the best cocoa last year. We're gonna start calling the Dave Wyman Taster's Choice Award. We're gonna build a little trophy and we'll pass that around. I think we should decide that right now, Dave. What do you think?
Kind of like you said, I have a body that's made for hot cocoa.
I agree. I'm not just kidding. Again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Dave Wyman, the city administrator for Dexter. And Dave, as we're winding down, we're talking about Cocoa Crawl. We're talking about brewing up business. I think that's one of the most ingenious titles that's ever been given, because as we said, First Friday Coffee has been used by every organization throughout the United States, and eventually I can't be everywhere on the first Friday. So right. What's a little bit about the brewing business that we do here?
Again, 100% credit to Alicia and her folks over at the Chamber. They try to rotate this brewing business event every month to a new, local business here in town. The best way to find out when the next one is go on Facebook and friend the Dexter Chamber of Commerce. But like you, it's a good way for me to get out and meet those people early in the morning. It's just a good thing to get your day started with. Our chamber folks, always impressed with them. They really support each other. I don't really know there's always competition, but I think it's a friendly competition, and they're all working towards the same thing.
And I can tell you this, Dave, I'm a member of the Dexter Chamber of Commerce, and I have been for a year. And I was a little apprehensive about coming to some of these events for the brewing up business, because obviously you're by yourself, you're coming in, I've never felt more welcome than anywhere when I came here. I mean, friendly. Alicia and her staff went out of the way. Whoever's doing the brewing up business wants you to feel warm and welcome. Come in and enjoy some coffee. Either get your weekend started or get your week ending on a good note, because you're going to see some great people, get some good conversation, have some good coffee, and check out what's going on in the city of Dexter. I don't know what else you could want to do on a Friday.
Yeah, it's just like I said, it's a good way to kind of get your day started, and we want to support those. And like I said, it's really a good way to catch up, see what's going on. Yesterday our movie theater, somebody ran their car into the side of the movie theater. Who does that? But anyway, it's just those kind of things what make small towns great.
And I was looking on Facebook and I saw where Brock posted that. It's like, despite the fact we do not have a drive-through window, and again, that's the kind of businesses you want to support. Locally owned, locally want to do what's best for the community. Brock does a great job out there, and we're lucky to have him running that. And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Dave Wyman, city administrator. Talked a lot about some events going on. And Dave, I know in your job as city administrator that it's not always somebody saying what a great job you're doing. It's sometimes, well, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? And there's a lot of things going on that a lot of people, are kind of questioning, I think. What are some of the issues that you're really trying to let people know, hey, we're getting where we need to be, but it's not always going to be easy to get there?
Sure. Change is always difficult, and anytime you make changes, you open yourself up to some criticism. And one of the things that we have found, don't know, it's been this way forever, right? So it's when it becomes tax time, you pay your Stoddard County taxes. That's Josh Speakman. You had to make your check out. You've got your personal property taxes. You got your real estate taxes. Nobody likes taxes. It's just one of those things. But if you live in town, then the city of Dexter also has personal property taxes, also has real estate taxes. And it's always been you pay the city at City Hall, you pay the county at either mail it in or you go to Bloomfield and pay it up there. one of the things that we have noticed is that it's becoming more complicated. It used to be just kind of your value of your home. You take a percentage of that. That's your real estate taxes. You kind of write down, your personal property taxes, and that's all. It used to be kind of simple. Now, and it's a good thing, but you've got, as a senior citizen, you're eligible to have your real estate locked in to what it was when you first moved into your home. Well, that calculation is not really all that easy. But it's part of the law. We want to obviously want to comply with the law. But that's one thing. And then you've got other kind of factors that come in, like Josh up there has actually come up with a program where he can budget bill your taxes, where you can pay a little bit per month. And for some people that are really hyper focused on their budgeting, that's a good option for them. And so what we have done with the city of Dexter is we're contracting with Josh Speakman up at Bloomfield, and so now all of your taxes, city and county, they're going to be managed and collected through Josh's office. You don't need to go two different places anymore. You can just go up there, or you can mail it in. They can accept payments on a monthly basis, so it's good for the consumer, and it kind of gets that onerous calculations out of our. We are not focused on collecting taxes. We do a pretty good job with water, sewer, and trash. But then you add this tax part in for that quarter of the year, and it's just kind of a little different. So we have made the decision that they're going to manage that, and hopefully the people can see that this change is actually a good thing for them in the long run, and hopefully makes it a little smoother.
And again, we're here on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Dave Wyman, the city administrator from the Dexter, from City of Dexter, talking about the new process of tax collection. And Dave, is it my understanding that the tax bills will actually be mailed from Josh's office now as well? So a lot of people will say, well, I didn't get anything from the City of Dexter. It'll all come in one envelope, correct?
That is correct.
And then you'll write one check, and then Josh Speakman's office will then divide it to the city as required.
That's correct.
So you're telling me I'm now saving a stamp, which is what, $1.87 now? I don't even know. And
yeah,
also,
if
I don't
it
have
gets there.
Exactly. Or I can do it online, correct?
That is correct.
And if you have any questions about that, who would you think that they should reach out to? Should they call Josh, call the city? Which would you?
Josh Speakman's office, the collector there in Bloomfield, he will answer all questions, and especially if you think you might qualify for that senior citizen real estate, discount. I encourage everybody to take advantage of that. Like I said, nobody likes taxes. It's just one of those things that's a necessary evil. That's how we function, is through taxes. So.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Dave Wyman, the Dexter City Administrator. And Dave, one thing I'll say is people appreciate quality law enforcement, ambulance care, good infrastructure. So we have to pay for that somehow, and we pay for that through taxes. Nobody wants to pay any more taxes. All we ask is that, and I think you're doing a good job of it, just be a good steward of the money, correct?
Yeah, it's really about the services that we provide. If you like the services that we provide, like you mentioned, through law enforcement, through fire protection, the trash pickup, keeping your streets in good shape, all of those things, having the parks that we have here in Dexter. I would put our park system against any community in the state of Missouri. We do an excellent job. Absolutely.
I think right now we've got youth soccer, we've got youth volleyball going on. I think there's other, like you say, it's benefiting the community by having these services available, and we have to pay them through taxes. Now, I'm going to ask you about something, and I know it was a hot button topic when I came to a few city council meetings, and I know you're probably tired of talking about it, but where are we on the wastewater and the water situation with the city of Dexter?
So when I took the job, that was one of those things that we had to fix. And so the city of Dexter currently operates two different aerated lagoons, one on the east side of town, one on the west side of town. Neither of those lagoons are able to basically treat the wastewater and get it down to a level that DNR, who's our regulatory authority, we cannot process that wastewater to meet the limits that they have assigned to us. And that had been, I guess, kind of known for quite some time, but we just really needed to kind of get moving on the correct solution. And so we hired an engineering firm, come in, they looked at our community, basically made a recommendation to us, and so they have been designing a new wastewater system. We hope to have that out for bids in January of 2026, and it will be built south of Walmart. One of the things that has to have is actually a big pump that will pump all of the wastewater on the east side of town to the west side of town, because we're only going to have one plant. So we'll have a force main or a pipeline that goes through town and gets all of that wastewater over there. But we're really, we feel like we've made several tours of other communities. We feel like the system that they've got is going to put us in a position to get good quality effluent that's going to meet all of our standards for the next 30 years. So we're really happy about that. The bad part of that is you have to pay for it. And
Sure.
Those things are, one of the things I've learned in this job is anything that's related to the airport, anything that's related to a fire station, or anything that's related to wastewater is a lot more expensive than what you might expect it to be. And this is a perfect example of that. And we had to raise our sewer rates. They are incrementally increasing $2 a month up until, I think, February of 2026. So we had to raise those $36 a month is what we really are raising them. So for 18 months, we raised them $2 a month. That's going to get us into basically a fee structure that we can pay off the bonds that we're going to have to take out to build the new wastewater treatment system.
And again, we're going to welcome the booth with Aaron Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to the city administrator for Dexter, Dave Wyman, about the wastewater and the water project. And Dave, one thing I'll say is I was coming, I went to actually it was a Brewing Up Business event. You were there giving a presentation, as well as the individual in charge of the wastewater facility, and talking about, look, folks, the DNR is not giving us any of their options. They're going to start fining us, I think it was at $100,000 a day or some outlandish figure.
Yeah, it was $1,000 a day for each permit, so it's $2,000 a day. Which, in a month's time is significant.
And again, I appreciate the fact that the city of Dexter had been able to keep the rates down since 1960 or whatever it was. But at some point, like you say, when you want to upgrade a facility, you've got to pay for it somehow.
Yeah, and like I said, it's something that we are trying to position ourselves so that this is not going to be something that's going to be outdated in 5 years. We went and we took tours of a similar plant in Perryville. We took tours of a similar plant in South St. Louis. Farmington has a plant that's very similar to what we are hoping to build. And it is a, I can go into a lot of detail that probably you don't want to hear, but it's basically a mechanical plant that gives us a lot of control over that wastewater treatment process. One of the things with the aerated lagoons is we're highly dependent on Mother Nature.
Absolutely.
And so you have no control. You just basically, you're crossing your thumbs and saying, hey, I hope this ends up getting where we need to be. And that does not work out very good for us sometimes. So, we want to be in control. We want to make sure that we get good quality effluent. That's good for the water quality throughout our area. We want to be good stewards of what we're doing, and this puts us in a good position to be in control of that.
Absolutely. And again, we're going to welcome the booth with Aaron Todd on KDX AM 1590. Talking to Dave Wyman, the city administrator for Dexter, a lot about the program of the wastewater situation. And I will say this, Dave, as I traveled around southeast Missouri, the wastewater issue, and that was every city in southeast Missouri had that issue.
Yeah.
So I think the fact that the city of Dexter took it by the horns and is doing something proactively is what we have to have. Now, let's talk a little bit about what's going on with the street department. Are you guys, and again, I think you'll agree, infrastructure is the key to a quality community.
That's really what I tell my job is. I mean, I have all the fun stuff that I get to do, but really my job is kind of managing infrastructure, which, my background in the highway department kind of set me up well for that because, the highway department at the core, they manage infrastructure. So, with our street department, we've been doing a lot of patching this summer. If you go down to the airport, the street that goes down to the runway, we overlaid that. Harry Bennett Drive, we overlaid the parking lot there at the airport. We redid one of the little alleyways that was in terrible condition over by the First Baptist Church. And then one of the things I'm probably most proud of is the intersection of Specialty Drive and 1 Mile Road there by Sonic. That thing was getting really, really rough. And so we went in there, kind of improved the radiuses, smoothed that out. Jeremiah Robinson is our street department superintendent, does a great job. His guys do a great job. So really lucky there. We've got some things in the future that I think everybody's going to be really excited about. We've been working for about 3 years on some intersection improvements that we got a grant through the Federal Highway Administration, and it would include improving the intersection down by Budshell Ford, 25 and Business 60, kind of making some geometric improvements to the intersection of 1 Mile Road and the South Outer Road there by the hospital, and then also making some improvements to the intersection of Business 60 and Route AD and Arvin Road, which is really the entrance in and out of where the new hotel is going to be. So we are expecting them to be open, by the middle to end of October. And so we hope that that's going to be a successful opening. And of course, successful means there's going to be more traffic. That intersection has already got some issues with the amount of traffic that's going through it. So some upgrades are going to be a welcome addition. We've been working with MoDOT now, trying to get the correct, revisions made so that they're comfortable with it. And then the plan would be to take it to their cost share committee. Hopefully we can get about half the funding from MoDOT's cost share committee. And then there's an additional grant that we've applied for through the Federal Highway Administration that would fund the other half of the upgrade. So hopefully, can't make any promises, but we've been working hard on that for sure.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Loop with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Dave Wyman, the city administrator for Dexter, Missouri. Dave, we're coming across some issues now about what's going on with sanitation and recycling. I know that's a major issue that's kind of your focus. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, we here in Dexter, we do pick up everyone's trash. We do take that to the landfill, and we have to pay for that. So really the sanitation department is not a moneymaker for the city. It's just a service that we provide for our citizens. But in addition to the regular trash pickup, we also offer a recycling program here in Dexter. And we work with the Sheltered Workshop, and they kind of help us with that as well. But one of the mechanisms that we use are these recycling trailers. We've got 4 of them that are stationed around town. We got to looking at those, and those things were about 27 years old. They were older than what I expected them to be, and they had quite a bit of use on them. And so we applied for a grant to get all 4 of those replaced, which is great. But also one of the other kind of neat things about that grant is they're going to go in and fix those old trailers, and we're able to then donate them to some of our neighboring communities. So the city of Essex is going to start a recycling program. As soon as we get these new trailers, we're going to give them one of the refurbished older ones. City of Burney, we've talked to them, and they're actually going to be able to take 2 trailers, which is great. And then we still are looking for another community to take the 4th one. So, but that's recycling is not only good for the environment, it's also good for the bottom line, because that's less weight that we're having to pay for when we go to the landfill. So
absolutely.
It's a good program that's an environmentally conscious program as well.
And again, we're on Welcome to the Booth with Darren on KDX AM 1590. Dave Wyman, the city administrator, I know there's several things going on with City Hall in that there's a new city attorney. Is that correct?
Yes.
And there's also a new city prosecutor. I know Yule Lawrence, as everybody knew, Miss Bud, was the city attorney and prosecutor for a long time. Outstanding man, lucky to have him.
Yep.
He has moved on to retirement, and we replaced him. Is that correct?
Yeah, we kind of learned a new word. We kind of updated our vocabulary a little bit. So you're correct, Yule Bud. He handled both the city attorney and the city prosecutor roles, and now we have a bifurcated system. Bifurcated.
Dave,
yes.
You're using those fancy words on us now.
Yeah, I had to look that one up. I will say that was a new one for me. But yeah, we have bifurcated that role so that Cameron Parker is now our city attorney. She's an excellent attorney that has offices in Risco, but she, I think, lives down around Campbell.
Yes, sir.
And she is also a state representative, and so she fills many roles and has lots of good contacts. And then we were also able to employ Joe Satterfield, who was a longtime judge, excellent attorney. We're very lucky to have him, and he is going to be handling our city prosecutor role.
And I think that's very important to have key experiences replacing Bud, because Bud was an icon in the municipal area. So I wish him the best. I think you, again, did a great job filling both those positions.
Oh, he had a tremendous amount of institutional knowledge about how things were and how they came to be and why it was that way. And we're really going to miss him. But he and his wife are actually going to move up to Cape. I actually think they've moved up there already. His daughter lives up there, and so they're trying to get close to her, and wish them the absolute best and hope they can come and visit us when they can.
Absolutely. As we're kind of winding down here on Welcome to the Booth with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590, talking to Dave Wyman, who's had a lot of information, but I think the people will really enjoy the fact Dave, I've known him for a while. Open book. If you have a question, ask him. He's going to give you the answer. It may not be the answer you want to hear, but it'll be the correct answer or the answer that's going on. What's going on with the fire department and the police department here in Dexter, Dave?
So one of the new purchases, and this was something that you really kind of have to plan ahead, because, purchasing a new pumper truck, and a lot of people had this issue around COVID, but it's really for fire trucks, fire equipment, it's been this way for a while. But we needed to replace the pumper trucks that we had here in town, and we had two of them. And we got to talking about, the prices and how things were, and it actually made a lot of sense for us to order two of them at the same time. Now, we did that 3 years ago. So it literally takes 3 years for you to get in that pipeline and get that equipment. So we're still actually waiting for those to be delivered. They have been built. They are in St. Louis getting some of the final electrical additions made, and then they have what I have been taught is called a hurricane gun. So it's the guy that sits up on top of the pumper truck, has the big nozzle, and he can spin it around. They're adding the hurricane guns as well. But that's new equipment that's going to be ready to fight fires, which is absolute necessity if you're in a community, and we want to give them the best equipment possible. Some new additions, kind of. So, in the old style, they either used pneumatic, so they would run either like an air compressor and have some tools, like if they were going to work on stuff, they would be pneumatic, or they would be electric, and they would have to run extension cords. So with the improvements that have made with the batteries, most everything is run off cordless now. So these new trucks will have like the cordless chainsaws. They'll have the cordless cutoff tools. So to power all that, you have to have a charging bank for all the batteries.
Right.
So it's different technology.
Sure.
It's a little bit different, but we're really looking forward to getting those into the town. I would say within the next month we should have them. So that we're excited about that. Police department, we are, the governor of Missouri, Governor Kehoe, came out with a program called the Blue Shield Communities, and the city of Dexter jumped on that really, really quickly. And so we became known as a Blue Shield community, and as part of that, they gave us $50,000 to spend on any kind of public safety improvement that we could. And so one of the things that we are going to use is a camera system called flock cameras. A lot of big communities use those: Cape Girardeau, Sykeston, St. Louis, Columbia, Kansas City. They all integrate together, and they have license plate readers, so that if you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing, and the boys in blue are looking for you, those cameras are going to pick up on your vehicle, and you're going to get a visit from them really, really soon. So
absolutely, and that's the one thing you can ask for. The fire department's very important with these new trucks. People don't realize, hey, we're spending a lot of money, but think of the amount of money we're saving on fire insurance and things of that nature based on your rating. And obviously, the law enforcement with the ability to see the license plate reader and the flock cameras is absolutely unbelievable. I know we have one last thing, then we'll be winding down, and we're welcome to Luke with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590. There is an opening for Parks and Rec. Is that correct?
Yes, like I said, we have, I think, one of the premier Parks and Rec leagues, and basically our facilities, and then all the people that work down there to keep those facilities in good shape, keep the youth sports running. We have actually a couple different openings down there. So if he know anybody that's got an interest in working for the Parks and Rec department here in Dexter, we'd love to have them turn their application in and call the parks office down there, talk to Mandy, tell them what you're interested in, and we'd love to have those folks that are really interested in investing their time and energy in the Dexter community.
And again, we're on Welcome to Luke with Darren Todd on KDX AM 1590. And Dave, I appreciate your time. There's a lot of information, and I appreciate you sharing it with us. And on behalf of my producer, Maureen Johnson, my executive producer, Evan Todd, thank you for joining us, making us part of your day. I hope you have an excellent afternoon and a better tomorrow.